Report. The Opportunities Party founder Gareth Morgan says the party will be back to contest the next general election. The party, widely known as TOP, won 2.4% of the vote in the general election. And Gareth Morgan joins me now in the Auckland studio. Kia ora, good morning.
Oh, morning, Guy.
So what is going to happen with the party and with your role in it?
Okay, so I'll remain on the national executive and party president, but I won't be standing in the political part of it. So we need to, in 2018, we'll reorganise and get our political leadership sorted.
So you are standing down as leader from when?
Well, I'll hold it until we make the new appointments. And, we had a meeting about it a week before now. And we've got, somewhere between 6 and 10 people who are, pretty keen to be in that leadership team. So we'll just run a process over 2018, and towards the end of 2018 we better have made a decision by then.
All right, we'll get onto your motivations in a second, but just the other key members. Your deputy, is he remaining in the position?
So Jeff
Simmons?
Jeff Simmons, who's run 2 elections this year, but Mount Albert and Wellington Central is probably more exhausted than me. So he's about to go travelling overseas. So he will resign his deputy leadership position. But his hat may well be in the ring for the leadership position at the end of the year. So he's just got to go and do R&R and sort out what he's going to do for 2 years.
Okay, so the upshot of most of it is you will stand down as leader, you'll get a new leader in, and you're still going to be involved with the party, and you will definitely contest the 2020 election as a party.
Totally. I mean, we only had 10 months in this last election, so this time we've got 3 years, so we can do it, a bit more properly. And I was never, that keen on being the political leader of this thing. I mean, I said, I think on day one that, I didn't really want to go into Parliament. I mean, for me, it's all about policy. But, I'm sort of surrounded by people who have been candidates who are pretty keen to get in there and do it. So the parliamentary part of the party, the political part, their job is to implement the policy. The role of the party is to determine the policy. That's where I get off.
Yeah, for someone who didn't want to get into Parliament, you spent a lot of money on trying to get in there, didn't you?
Well, I think
was it $3 million?
Yeah,
of your own money?
Yeah, it would have been that.
Was it worth it? That's about $100 a vote.
Oh, no, it's totally worth it. I mean, because, my thing is about quality policy, and I think it's been some time since we had quality policy, and that was the whole point of, why TOP was formed. And I'm still very passionate about that. And New Zealand can do a lot better in things like productivity and fairness. And so, I can spend the next 2 years just chipping away at, decisions that are made, and we can spend a lot more time, going out and just engaging with New Zealanders on it. The reality is we didn't engage with that many New Zealanders over that 10 months.
And let's look at why that might have been. I mean, maybe you were pretty good at developing the policy and weren't so good at the politics of it. I mean, we could run through some of your best hits. Let's do that, eh?
Yeah, sure.
Engaging in a debate about freedom camping, you told one Twitter user, or asked them, what's your address, can they come and shit on your lawn? You signed off one of your party members saying you're a pain in the arse. And you also sent out what many regarded as a very insensitive tweet on the death of the Prime Minister's cat. And we won't go further into cats, but you get my point. The PR angle of this wasn't brilliant for you, was it?
Well, I'm pretty direct and I don't tolerate fools. And in my view, on any subject, there's an opinion and there's an informed opinion. And the two are not, the same thing. So for me, when, I'm faced with an issue I know nothing about, I actually shut up, go on. But when I'm faced with the public, some of whom will run on empty, on and on, I give it to them. You bet I do. That will not change. I can't change it. I am who I am. I take your point that charm has a big role to play in politics. We saw that with Jacinda when 20% of the population moved in 24 hours. So that obviously requires a slightly different skill set. So you combine that with the fact I don't want to go to Parliament anyway, and it's a no-brainer.
But to some, it sounded like you were saying to the New Zealand voters, you're morons, come and vote for me.
No, I wasn't saying that to the New Zealand public at all. I was saying it to people who essentially were serving up nothing but idiot wind when we were talking about and I'll continue to do that. I mean, you have to be informed if you want to engage in sensible discussion, and that's the problem with social media, is that people feel, because they're hiding behind, anonymity and all that they can just mouth on empty. Well, not on my site, they can't.
What sort of leader are you looking for? What are the characteristics?
Well, I think I need, obviously, a complementary skill set. We're not looking for people who will develop policy. We've got a really good team on doing that, and there's been a hell of a lot of work going
so
into
are
it.
you going to play the game that the big parties play and get someone who's a good messenger, who's a good figurehead? You are, yeah?
Because
so you're not going to get Sean Plunkett?
No, Sean will not be applying for that job at all. I mean, Sean was great for us because, we did actually have trouble going with mainstream media, and Sean is a guy very experienced in that space and got us cut through.
You got was a thick end of 60,000 votes, wasn't it? Yeah, 63,000 votes. So you got double the number of votes as the Māori Party, 5 times the number that ACT got.
Yeah, the way I always say that is, well, another 2.5%, and we would have determined the government. Wasn't that far away.
What do you make of the current government's performance, and how's it looking to you from where you're sitting?
There's good and bad. I mean, I wrote a thing yesterday. I thought their policy around national standards in education was well overdue. I thought it was fantastic doing that. I'm not at all impressed with the tax working group sham that's going on, because unless we're prepared to face the fundamental issue with the tax dodge on owner-occupied property, we can't lift productivity in New Zealand, and we can't restore fairness. And both the mainstream political parties have dodged that issue, despite 2 tax working groups, the Reserve Bank and the Treasury, telling them to shape up and face it. And I'll continue to tell them to do that too.
Is Winston going to make full term this time?
I've got no idea about Winston, I mean, isn't that amazing that, he could get to that position and determine government. But Winston, as we all know, is a very different animal once he's in, once he's got a job, than when he's...
And are you going to be a different animal now you're out of it?
Well, no, I'm going to be the same, but, I'm looking forward to this process over the next 12 months of getting the parliamentary team together. It'll be fun.
Thanks for your time this morning. Do appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
That is the top leader for the moment, Gareth Morgan. It's 16 to 8.
In Alabama,